All right, you're listening to Apostates on the Fringe, a leftist atheist podcast sponsored by the Atheist Society of Knoxville. We are your hosts. I'm Dustin.
Burn, Texas. Oh, shit. I'm supposed to do that at the end. Sam. I'm Sam.
Alistair.
All right, well, Sam, what are you drinking?
I am drinking the Bed of Nails currently. It's by High Wire. That's where we had a party last Friday, but it was a failure because everyone's scared of COVID.
Oh.
Even with the COVID vaccine checks at the door, no one showed up for both reasons, I think. So, sorry, High Wire.
Hey, I actually
Give us a second
expected
chance.
people to be like...
No, I think it
trying
scared
to sneak
people on.
in or-
No, I think it scared people on both sides. I think people that don't have the vaccine obviously didn't show up, and then people that do have the vaccine are like, "Wow, if they're checking that at the door, then I probably shouldn't go."
All right, what'd you get, Al?
I'm drinking that Rogue Pumpkin Patch Ale again.
Is that the one that fucked with your vape?
It did. It doesn't seem to be this time. Last time it made my vape taste like ass.
I hate when that happens. It happens when certain foods that I eat, and I forget, and then I eat that food, and I'm hitting the vape, and I'm like, God, this tastes like shit. So that happens to me a lot. You guys will be disappointed in me.
You have no beer.
I have no beer. For the sake of my health, I am taking a 1-month hiatus for alcohol.
Oh, all alcohol?
All alcohol. I tend to drink more than you guys.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's
a lot more.
That's going to be a challenge.
And it's going to be a pretty big challenge. So Stephanie and I this month have taken the steps to just do a 1-month complete reset and probably reduce the use afterwards, because I'm not going to lie, when I got tired of waking up at 2:30 and realizing I had drunk ordered a DoorDash at 1:30, and that had happened at least twice this month. So I was like, you know what, I'm done. I'm taking a reset, and we're going to calm it down a little bit. So I will be the boring one this month, Sam. I will not have any new beers to re-announce or any new drinks to announce.
Well,
I have
too
a
bad
delicious.
This state's not legal, or you could get like extremely baked over there and discuss what beautiful flower you're smoking.
I was thinking about it though, because no one's going to come bursting down my door. So I just have this, nice flavored water to get me through, keep me
where's
hydrated.
your flavored water from?
Do it now?
Where's your flavored water from?
You know what? It is my flavored water is just some little, like the Mio sort of things where you flavor the waters, but it's just filtered water. Yeah, but it's just going to be something I felt I needed to do.
Congratulations, you'll probably feel better.
No, today I felt like shit. Today I felt like just because honestly, one of the main driving reasons of why I drink, especially late at night, is because I cannot sleep. I have horrible insomnia.
That's why you'll need to start
weed. So I tried the weed last night a little bit, and it helped, but then I got into my thoughts, and I'm just like laying there, and so I woke up extremely exhausted.
Like if I quit smoking and I start again, I have that issue where I go too much in my thoughts. If I do it regularly, once I get past a week and a half, that starts like leveling off and I just pass out. Like
there was a point where I'd like laid wrong and I had been hitting this shit. I was like, I need to get fucking high so I can sleep, because without the alcohol, I've got nothing. Because I really do have I was prescribed medicine as a kid all throughout, and that's just
we're talking about CBD government,
yes, right? This is CBD Delta 8. This is
Delta 8 CBD.
So. I'd gotten to the position where it was hard to breathe for a second. I was like, "Oh shit, I have the COVID!" Like that's because you get paranoid when if you're not a regular and taker of CBD, So I did. So I had that, but and I woke up extremely exhausted. I know this first week will probably be the most grueling.
Yeah.
After that, I'm hoping I can kind of reset and chill. But you listeners, sorry for the rest of the month. When it comes to Dustin, he'll be drinking just boring ass flavored water.
I don't think anyone really cares about what we drink.
They
to be
probably
honest.
don't. That's someone. This is someone's favorite segment. Damn it!
I mean, I've heard people tell me it's their favorite part.
They want to know. They want to know what to try next or what not to try, like the blueberry pancake ale. That you actually didn't hate that as much as I did.
I was already drunk though.
Okay, valid.
I was already drunk at that point. It was fine.
Valid. So a lot of stories to cover this week.
Really?
Shut up, Al. A lot of things have happened this week, but the first one we kind of want to mention first was that even though that a court had ruled the DeSantis Florida ban unconstitutional, they still, days later, announced that they will still be withholding the funds equal to the salaries of the board members for those districts, the two counties. I think one's in the Miami, whatever county is in that area, forgetting, and one other, but they're still withholding those funds.
How does he think he's going to get away with this?
Because I think, and Sam and I, we've had this conversation.
A long history of getting away with it.
And Sam and I, we did this because he thinks he did the math on this as well, on how many people he can lose to COVID versus how many people can get reelected. And I don't know how the courts will not challenge this being withheld. Like, I don't know how that's going to work because I'm not a lawyer, but
I don't.
You would think.
I don't, like, I'm not going to sit here and say that, like, our leaders haven't thought about that.
Someone in a room somewhere did the math.
I keep asking for.
It's actually maybe possible, but my thing is how the fuck do they stop what's already been set in motion?
You can't. And we talked about that when we saw Trump at the rally and the mere mention of a vaccine, even as backhandedly as he did it and kind of immediately walking away, they booed him. This train cannot be stopped that they started.
It's still in their best interest to keep their base as ignorant and rabid as possible, and for that ends, it is completely
They're going to kill them.
They don't care because
they don't.
Like, you have a death squad of thousands and thousands of people that are willing to kill themselves for you. They're fanatics.
What about
and having
the next
fanatics
variant
are better than
that
thinking
gets stronger and kills more
There's
people?
already been a new variant, the C.1.2.
I mean, they don't care.
Mutated.
You know, they probably know more than anybody that the world's like already on the fucking brink. Like, for the time that's going to take for that to be an issue, like, society's not going to be much of a thing we're going to be discussing about. They don't give a shit.
But unlike Tennessee, there are certain places and counties in Florida that are disobeying that order and are requiring universal mask mandates in their schools, and that's why they're getting these bans.
There are some here too.
Which one's here in Tennessee? Because I don't know any in Tennessee. Because I know Oak Ridge wanted to try, but then as soon as Dick Bill Lee said all parents can opt out, regardless of any kind of exemption.
Union County passed one.
Union County's not even in school right now.
Well, a lot of them are passing them. They're just given like the opt-out. But I think a couple of schools have said, no, we're not going to allow the opt-out.
I mean, how would they skirt the executive order from Bill Lee if they did that then? Because as far as I know, like, there are 6 independent health departments in Tennessee at the major cities, but outside of that, they have to follow like the Tennessee Department of Health guidelines, and that's where his executive order applies, as far as I'm aware.
So I may be getting things mixed up. There's 2 lawsuits against Bill Lee for that executive order. But the thing is, it's maybe more appropriate to talk about later, but he doesn't have the right to create policies for the school districts. It's in the Tennessee Charter and the Tennessee Constitution that the legislator only has the right to fund schools. All policy is done by local elected Board of Education. And
I may be getting ahead of you because you may want to mention this later, but isn't that exactly what that the Biden administration is looking into?
Yep.
Is that in the GOP-led or governor states that have enacted such bans, they're looking into how that may violate civil rights. Civil rights, right? Because those states, those schools and independents should have the power to run their school districts, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
So they're looking into that. I hope that pans out, because as we're very well aware, and you'll probably fill us in, our local school, Tennessee, they don't give a fuck.
They do not give one single fuck. Can we go ahead and talk about the shitty ass school board meeting?
There was a very long board meeting. A lot of things came out of that, and it's so funny. The only thing that rung to me was that Dick McMillan was his name. Was that the one that?
Yeah, Mike McMillan.
Mike McMillan, and so I thought it was just people bitching amongst themselves in the chats that we've seen, but no, they actually have the video of him, and it's all over the news and certain news articles. This fucker just nodding and falling asleep.
This isn't a new thing for me either.
It's not. I believe when we were doing the Satanic Ministry stuff, I saw him falling asleep then. I've seen him sleeping at several school board meetings now. And he still gets a vote.
So this was a special session that occurred?
It was. So I talked last week about how the parents around Knox County were starting their own groups to do contact tracing in the schools. A lot of pressure was being applied to the school district. Friday, after we recorded, over 9,000 kids were out of school, either sick or quarantining. East Tennessee Children's Hospital released their numbers, and we had like 11 kids hospitalized. So the school board, or Bob Thomas or somebody, announced that there would be a special session to discuss masks and other COVID precautions in the school.
How was the protest outside beforehand?
Well, first we had the sick out on Monday.
Right, and where there a lot of participation in that. I think it was 1 in 5 students was absent from the schools.
Yeah, we had 1 in 5 students. My kid participated in that. I went to their school that morning to protest. Like, we had parents at every single school. I had, like, the kids' classmates were coming up to me. Some of them were thanking. We only had one kid boo, and one girl, like, hollered some stuff. We did have a girl come over, and she had wasn't wearing a mask, and she just, like, came over, read all our signs, and walked away. But we had several students come up and said, thank you for being here. We're scared to go to school right now. One girl saying, like, my mom already has health issues, and I have to come to school, and I'm worried I'm going to take something home with her. So like,
it's so bad right now. I employ several people. I have 3 or 4 that have kids. 3 out of the 4 of those that have kids are currently being tested right now because it's so rampant in the schools.
It's so bad.
Which means they're going to spread it to their families, and one of them has already spread. What I say is being tested because the 4th one has already been tested and was positive and spread it to the entire household. Yeah. All 5 have been tested with COVID.
Were they vaccinated?
No, they were not. Oh wait, one was the one my employee that was not. A lot of coughing, severe cough. They had to have medicine called in, and all things like that. So they're bringing this shit home to their unvaccinated families.
Can't wait till Thanksgiving where they can bring it home to their racist grandmas.
Yeah,
last year.
They're already, the ones with grandparents here, they're going to church. They're still going to see their grandparents. They're still, because a lot of these kids are feeling asymptomatic. Like, if we had 900 positive cases in the school on Friday, there's probably a lot more than that positive that we don't know about, that these kids probably aren't even getting tested.
It's because I think, unfortunately, when early COVID happened in March, this is March 2020, March, April, May, people were scared. They were taking precautions for the most part. You still had your "but my freedoms" folk and shit like that. But by and large, they were taking over precautions. Now, despite ever increasing numbers, it's still business as usual. Case in point, there was a church camp that required no vaccinations nor mask, and it was linked to up to 180 cases of COVID from that one event. Because I think by and large the country is just, they're over for a lot of people. They're over the precautions. They're over taking chances.
That camp, as soon as people started testing positive, they took down all the pictures of the camp and everything. I heard about it as it was happening.
Oh, did they?
I think one of the parents is on a school board, and I know somebody in that circle, so they were telling me about it.
So circling, I just mentioned that because it does seem to be that way, that no one gives a flying fuck anymore except for those who, have kids in the school system who aren't. I mean, we kind of concerned about it because there are still breakthrough cases. Mm-hmm. That case, I have another employee who was hospitalized.
I have is that it's very rarely given vaccinated to vaccinated, and my kid and I are both vaccinated, so we can't give it to each other. But it's funny, the people that I know who are vaccinated, when I'm getting together with them, everybody's fine with being outside, and we still all take safety precautions, even if we're vaccinated. Where there's so many people out there that just don't give a fuck though, and are going on everything's normal.
Well, we're kind of insulated in our social groups. We don't hang around with unvaccinated idiots. They're not coming to we don't have a bunch of unvaccinated idiots in Ask. I think our other personal social circles probably don't have a lot of unvaccinated idiots.
Yeah, I really don't do anything socially with unvaccinated people, and I tend to stay outside.
Because it is a political divide. It's not random. These people fall down clear ideological lines, so they would not be people we would ideologically hang out with. I mean, not completely true. I hang out with a bunch of hippies, and there is a side of hippies that are fucking stupid. That's one of the reasons why they did cancel the burns this year, is because they knew there would be some people trying to get in, lying about their vaccine cards and all this shit. But
yeah, I know. I don't know if you've been keeping up with Reddit. You know, they banned the No New Normal subreddit. Basically, a collection of just misinformation and people just shitting all over it because they're against this new normal that we're inevitably going to be facing with COVID continuously mutating, not enough of the population getting vaccinated. But it was just, of course, Reddit just picks and cherry picks what they want to ban. But I think it will be the new normal. I think we talked about it before. This is just going to be an ongoing thing. We're going to be getting boosters, and eventually these mutations are going to keep going. And
it's probably just a trial run for the next virus that is going to be worse than COVID.
And the Delta is already, I think a lot worse.
Delta still has a pretty high mortality rate compared to, like, I don't know, something that would be in a movie.
And a high transmission rate. I don't know what the R naught on it is, but this is our new normal.
It's no Black Death.
No, I mean, it's not, not that, but as long as the rest of the population doesn't take precaution, they don't get vaccinated, then...
Well, how many times are they going to get it? Because, I mean, if you get it, the antibodies doesn't last as long as the vaccines, right?
No,
there's people. There's been confirmed cases of several people getting, first the original strain and now the new Delta as well.
I've known a few people, or I've seen or heard of a few people that have gotten it more than once. Yeah,
I know someone personally posted on Facebook, and the Delta hit him a lot harder than the original strain that he got last year. Took him out for a while. Like, obviously, no.
There's billions of people on Earth. There's a lot of variables, and it does depend a lot on your body's ability to fight it.
So we kind of went off on a tangent. So let's circle back to what happened once the board meeting. Actually, not the board of the school board meeting. Once that came into session, what was that like? Well,
that was Wednesday. We had a protest in front of the meeting, actually next to the meeting space. We started about an hour before the school board meeting. We definitely outnumbered them, which was good. We had to sign up to call by Tuesday at 4:00.
That's what people are pissed off about.
They were really pissed off because they limited the number of calls.
Yeah.
Or the number of speakers. There could only be 60 speakers. Well, like we've been working on having this special session. Like, we wanted them to call it, so we were prepared. Monday morning, we all called in to sign up to be speakers. They were delayed, so only a few of them got to speak compared to us.
So there were a few anti-maskers. How many anti-masker speakers do you think were represented that spoke?
I'd say probably 30% of them were.
I'm sure they all had the same kind of message. And what is that message they keep? Is it because that they're not healthy for the kids? Like, what is?
Yeah, they're not healthy. They make kids struggle for air. More kids are in the hospital for RSV. The masks don't work. Yeah, it's the same shit we hear over and over. We had several medical professionals. They had Nurse Debbie.
So what are the medical professionals? What were they espousing?
The real medical professionals.
Yeah, the real ones, yes.
I didn't hear all of their speeches. They spoke after me when I was outside.
Okay.
But they were all pro-mask, and they were going over numbers and things happening, in the hospital, and explaining to them what they're seeing. We had some pediatrician. Think maybe someone from the Children's Hospital. I'm not sure, but they were all like full of science and gave good arguments for why we should have masks and take precautions in school. Nurse Debbie.
What did Nurse Debbie? Who is Nurse Debbie?
And what is her address?
I have it.
Check in the show notes.
I'm not doing it, Sam.
Deborah Tyree Stafford. She's a nurse out in Powell. She has been prescribing ivermectin.
Horse paste.
As preventative and for people with COVID. Like, advertising this through Facebook, telling people, like, random people asking about it in comment. Just call my office, I'll write you a prescription. Like, so she was there speaking against mask. I have a new nemesis.
This is the one that you picture. Who took that picture?
I took the picture. She was so mad at me for taking her picture there because I kept.
You should tell her that it's actually stealing her soul. She sounds so stupid. She might believe it.
I wasn't even like focusing on her at first. I was getting like people around her, and I started out taking a video because so we were in a separate room. We were limited in how many people could be inside the building. It was only people speaking, and they had all of us like spaced out like 3 feet apart.
Yes, let's limit things because of COVID for our meeting on why COVID doesn't matter.
Well, there really was no space in that room. There wasn't seating. There wasn't, like, it was just a tiny space.
Still,
they should have moved it, though.
Pieces of shit.
Right. And so, like, we were all segregated on mask, not mask. People were speaking, and they were being rude as fuck talking throughout it. So I was getting video of that, and she saw me out with the camera and, like, started, like, pointing, and I don't even know what she was trying to tell me. I just kept looking over at her going, me. And, she got frustrated, and then I started taking pictures of her.
Maybe she should take some horse drugs about it.
So what?
Yeah, at what point, like, one of the speakers put the microphone too close to their mouth, and they were a louder speaker, and she got loud. She covers her ears and, like, ducks down, and, like, nobody else in the room is carrying on like this. Earlier in the night, people were, like, screaming at the top of their lungs so that they could be heard by the board members. She wasn't acting like that, but she acted all dramatic when one of the pro-maskers were loud, and I couldn't resist taking the picture.
No, I saw a few screen caps because she tried to defend herself in the comment section when she posted that picture. She said it was a condition.
Yeah, she said she had a medical condition and thanked me for making fun of her for it. I was like, it's funny because you weren't acting that way earlier in the night. She's like, it's tone dependent.
It's the tone. It's a certain, like, the brown
noise.
It's
only tones that I don't want to hear.
No, it was the brown noise. She couldn't hear that, so she covered her ears.
No, she takes medicine for the brown noises. That makes her shit her pants.
You found her. She has a website, and you also screen capped that because the precautions on that. And she was like, "Yeah, thanks for." So it said due to COVID-19 and so on and so forth. And you're like, "Well, you have all these precautions at your place of business." And she's like, "Oh, you mean the picture from 2018?" You're like, "Oh, in 2018 when COVID wasn't a thing?"
Yeah. No, I mean the paragraph that starts out with "due to COVID." She's limiting the number of people in her office.
And I guarantee that she probably requires masks in there.
Uh-huh. She's taking
I bet
COVID.
she's vaccinated. Yeah.
But at the same time, she's promoting not wearing masks. She's promoting the use of ivermectin. She's like... That's what, I think she's just a pure fucking grifter. I think she knows what she's doing, and she's taking advantage of stupid fucking people.
Yeah, so that makes her evil, so look for her show notes, and you'll find her address.
I'm probably going to have all of her information up on Twitter.
I mean, that is the definition of evil, gaining
because I went and commented on her
suffering.
page... She decided to go look at my page, and she saw the picture of herself there. And they have some people in one of our Parents Against COVID groups. And I posted the picture there, and I also posted the information about her her office and them taking COVID precautions. Today, her Facebook page is down. So she like tucked tail and ran when attention got on her.
So talking about grifters, this has kind of been all over Reddit today. Did you guys see that Candace Owens had booked a place to get tested for COVID, and they told her no?
I saw that. Yeah.
Did you see the letter? Yeah. It was so good. She got all pissy about it. I want to kind of read her response. This is Candace Owens. Dear Susanna, I want to let you know that this might objectively be the most hilarious email I have ever received in my life. Truly, I've never laughed harder. Nothing screams the virus isn't political, quite like Googling the names of people who book tests with you and determining on a case-by-case basis whether or not you will let them comply with the community COVID measures. Like, everyone fucking knows fucking who you are and who you are and what you've done.
Who has to Google her?
Right.
Like, it's unnecessary.
Your whole fucking shtick has been anti-mask, anti-vaccine, and you probably are vaccinated. These people probably all are.
Right.
And yet it's so fucking frustrating because they're just pandering to the rest of their base. Mm-hmm. That's all they're doing.
Yep.
Yeah, that's how you know they're evil. But to continue with Candace Owens, she was taken down by the most unfortunate of person today.
Oh, yeah?
She was taken down by Joe Rogan for climate denying.
Joe Rogan got the COVID.
And Joe Rogan, see, I heard that his latest show was insane because he got the COVID because he didn't get vaccinated because he's a fucking idiot. And then he took horse drugs because he's a fucking idiot. But at least he has the fucking sense to call Candace Owens an idiot for denying climate change.
That's a really wild show. I mean, you got horse pace guy.
He had a doctor on that to talk about how great horse pace was. Right before Candace Owens.
I'm sure for certain things like parasites, I know they're doing clinical trials on other things, but like literally every agency is like, do not take this for COVID, and especially not the ones you buy at the co-op, because that's what all these people are doing.
People are like, at the very best, it doesn't really stop COVID. At the worst, you'll shit yourself to death.
No, it's real. Like all the local stores here, like this ivermectin is literally just disappearing off the shelf. It's the new hydroxychloroquine thing.
It is, and so I've been watching this pretty closely. And one thing I find interesting is
they dropped that hydrox. That's a good point. Where is that? Why aren't they taking that still?
Because we have ivermectin now.
Oh, okay.
We move on to new things.
So I've been watching people talk about it, and they're like people from the feed stores are saying that they're not actually buying the horse paste. It's disappearing from their shelves, but nobody's coming in and asking for it, where it is, or
because they're embarrassed to do so.
They are. They're absolutely ashamed of what they're doing.
But they saw a TikTok, and and so they want to have that to prevent themselves from as a preventative.
And I've gotten in arguments with people online about it being the same drug, and it's not the fucking same thing. They're prepared completely different, just like there's the concentration's different. And then there are ingredients in the horse meds that are not approved for humans.
One of the funniest memes I saw from that, and it was the Animorphs. You guys remember the Animorphs books? It was the Animorphs, and it was a person turning into the horse, and it says when ivermectin finally kicks in.
I said people are just recycling all the K memes again. I've seen all these memes. It was for my fun drugs that I do. I mean, don't do. Cut that out, Dustin.
None of us do any drugs at all.
We don't do drugs. It's all CBD.
It's all CBD.
Delta 8.
So yeah, in case anybody wants to know how the school board meeting ended.
How did that school? Surely with all the speakers there and the scientific evidence and data that suggests that masks work and reduce the spread of COVID-19 and all the emotional support from all the people who were speaking definitely convinced the school board, right?
5-4, no mask.
Hey, what did Patty Bounds? How did she vote?
That fucking cunt. That fucking cunt had the goddamn nerve to text me today.
After she voted no.
After she voted no. All acting like we're friends. Your hair looked good. Bitch, I'm ready to tear you apart.
She did that to troll you. That was all that was. All that was.
Oh, I know, and I'm about to troll her back, and I'm thinking long and hard. She's playing a fucking game with me, and I'm not going to let her win.
That's all that was. That was a prod. Like, I fucking voted against your ass again, and that's all that was. That was a prod.
Yeah, I'm ready to rearrange my goddamn schedule and start going door to door to get enough signatures to get her recalled.
We need to do some serious shit. Like, we have the most fucking idiots in this county. Knoxville is full of the stupidest fucking
people. Yes, 30% of fucking what Elizabeth Murphy.
Because they don't fucking know. None of these people know who the fuck they're voting for. The reason our school board is what it is because half of these people ran fucking unopposed. Nobody was interested. Nobody gave a shit about the school board. Now we're in this situation where we have incompetent fucks.
It was the same thing with why Kane got elected. They're like, he's a wrestler. Isn't it fun? I'm voting for a wrestler. Thousands of people dead next year. Good job, fucking morons. I will punch you in the face. I've said that. I'm over this shit. I'm over these fucking people.
This is our rage episode.
I mean, we haven't even talked about Texas yet, but I'm ready to fucking catch shit on fire.
Before we do that, you just mentioned the word recall, and one thing that's got me a little concerned. I know we haven't really talked about a whole lot of things in California, but the recall election in California is really kind of a fucked up situation.
What the fuck is this? I haven't heard anything about it.
Right, so they have gathered enough that they're in the midst right now of a recall election. Their ballots are currently being mailed in, and here's the fucked up part of how California's recall election system works. So they need a plurality to either vote to remove Gavin Newsom as governor or not. And so if they vote do you wish to recall governor on the ballot, it says, do you wish to recall Gavin Newsom as governor, yes or no? And they make one. So if yes, then who would you vote for? And there's this huge fucking long list of candidates, and it does show their political party and a one line next to them. Not a whole lot to it. The fucked up part about this is that if 49.9% of California says no, do not recall, and 50.1% says yes, recall, they can elect someone that has 24% of the popular vote, because all it takes is once the yes wins, once the vote to recall wins, then it's just whoever has the majority of votes in that election. So it could be someone that has 26% of the popular vote in California. Right now, it would probably be a GOP, because the Democrats are going to be voting no, not to recall. Everyone else is voting yes to recall. Some are saying yes to recall, and who would you vote? No to recall, but then yes, in other words. But someone with 26% or lower for at least 1 year, because the election's up in 2022, I think. But for 1 year, would be the fucking governor of California. So the reality of what could possibly happen in California, which is kind of fucked, is all it takes is just a minor split between the yes and the no recall. If the yes recall is just a slim majority, a fucking right-wing crazy Trumpian could be elected governor because of that fucked up situation. And then everything that Governor Newsom was doing to try to prevent this, because California is the most populous fucking state in the United States. I mean, all these counties, there's a lot of fucking people, and if they reverse everything that he's done right now to try to prevent the spread, think putting mixing DeSantis, Bill Lee, and Greg Abbott into one person, and then put them in California.
So are there any Democrats on the ballot?
I don't think so.
So no Democrats. If they voted no, could they still vote for, if they had a Democrat on there, could they still vote in case of recall?
It wouldn't do shit with the amount of people vote. It would get 2%.
But you can only vote for the incoming election if you vote to recall.
No, I think you can still put no. You can still select no. If recalled, who would you vote for? So you still could, but unfortunately, the Democrats aren't playing a very smart game there. From what I've heard, they're advising them not to vote for anyone on that one. So they're banking on the success of the recall failing. And if the recall fails, some crazy Trumpian right-wing, blowhard nut job will take the control of all the executive decisions in California for the next year until he's voted out, or they are voted out in 2022.
Democrats really need to fucking learn how to play the game, man.
They don't play as fucking dirty. They do not. They don't gerrymander. They don't gerrymander.
That's because they're Democrats and not leftists.
Well, I'm in these parents groups against the COVID stuff for the school board. And a friend of mine's an admin, just became an admin of one of the groups, and she was telling me today how the other admins are saying, we should let the anti-maskers in. We could change their mind. And I'm over here these goddamn fucking liberals. I told them, so I was helping organize the protest and stuff. I kept my fucking head down publicly about being involved in any organizing, because I know these people. They're going to look at my page, go, this person's too extreme, and kind of shut it down. Where, Yeah, so I've just kind of like, kind of nudged some people, but like these liberals and like who think I'm too radical, like you don't understand, like I'm too radical because I've watched how they're playing and I want to beat them at their own fucking game.
You would think that Democrats would learn their fucking lesson over the years of how dirty the fucking GOP is. And now, unfortunately, we talked about it before. Texas got their voting restrictions passed. The governor will sign that because enough Democrats, showed back up for quorum. Fuck it. Let's move on to Texas.
Light it up.
Let's talk about Texas. Sam?
When they won't let you vote, you cast Molotovs when you can't cast ballots. And that's what you got to do when your government says that women don't have rights.
Yeah, so Texas is in the news
Texas
again.
should be burning every fucking day in a satirical manner. Till their women actually have rights again.
So the Supreme Court just failed to act on this.
No, they didn't just fail to act. They actually voted.
The Supreme Court are enemies of the state now.
So John Roberts lost control of the court. He sided with the liberals dissenting in a 5-4 decision. The three that Trump appointed, along with the fucking...
Yeah, we're going to be paying for Trump. We have lost control of the Supreme Court. We have to... They are not the law of the land anymore.
So wait,
we cannot take them accountable.
Which way?
Yeah, the time is now.
5-4 to not...
The time's now, Alistair. What we always feared is happening right the fuck now.
Let me finish this sentence.
It was 5-4 to not...
This is what
Sam,
we've been fucking
Sam,
talking about. Mayor Ginsburg.
I'm muting your mic, Sam. So they voted 5-4 not to intervene in the Texas to block the emergency in the law. So first they didn't enact by midnight to keep the law, but then they actually voted 5-4 to not even do anything about it. Jesus fuck, Sam.
I just needed to hear that.
This is what we were panicking about when Ruth Bader Ginsburg died.
So I saw they failed to act.
This is what we were saying when Brett Kavanaugh got in there. Everyone's fears are completely fucking valid, and instead of shrugging your shoulders, go fucking doing something about it. Anybody that supports these fucking people are enemies of you and women, and treat them as thus.
So what... Before I let Sam continue on this glorious rant, I was thinking about when I first talked about this bill, and I actually went back and I was like, this was episode 6, and that Sam made me title the episode
I brought this up a couple of weeks ago, and I said it's happening now, and you were like, whoa, no, it's not. I'm like, no, it's happening right now.
So
right now.
Sam, I'm going to mute your mic. So we talked about this in episode 6 that we aptly titled Forced Birth Extremism. And when I talked about this, in my head, I was like, these dumb fucks, this will get blocked on so many courts, it's not even going to be funny. We talked about it, it's like, look what the dumb shit Greg Abbott's doing. It'll be blocked by this, if not in the major courts, because this is blatantly unconstitutional. And motherfucker, was I wrong. Like, I seriously thought this thing had no chance in hell. I laughed it off.
I was right.
So
he was wrong. I was right.
When we recorded last week, right before the show, I got the link to a website called Pro-Life. It was Pro-Life Whistleblower. And it was a site that an organization put up for people to report people who have had abortions. They preemptively put it up before the law would go into effect. So the Zoomers started spamming it with furry porn. And it was on my, I planned to leave here and go home and, kill the rest of my night by spamming this website with furry porn. But by the time I got home, it was down. They put it back up without the option of adding a picture. We're still spamming the fuck out of it, though.
So I'm sure all the listeners are aware, what we're referring to is Texas Senate Bill 8. And what Texas Senate Bill 8 did was effectively kill Roe versus Wade. It bans all abortions basically after 6 weeks when some activity, heart activity could be detected. It's not a heartbeat for all you fucking people. It's not a fucking heartbeat. It's just, some electrical activity.
A small electrical impulse.
Yes, so electrical impulses is basically what you're detecting. And at this point... This is where 85% of people who get abortions don't even know they're even pregnant at this point.
Yeah.
And so, but how this law differs is that it's not that the state agencies or government can enforce this. Is that anyone without any interest in this person or a clinic whatsoever can sue, and they made it a bounty, essentially, where they can recover up to $10,000 for not only the clinic, but also anyone who aids and abets. So you drove your kid to go get an abortion. They could sue you for damages up to $10,000.
This is straight up fascism, and the only response to that is pure violence.
It's worse. This
is happening right now.
There's basically all the clinics have effectively shuttered because they know they can no longer accommodate these things.
Now, why is the reason why they say that? Like, this is violence towards women. This happening right now, this is an act of war and violence towards every woman in Texas. And if you are not responding to it in kind, then you are losing that battle. If you are not fighting violence with violence, like there is, you have, like... The mass protests should be going on right now. It's not going to because it's fucking Texas and America's fucking stupid.
But you still have the major cities there. I don't know. I think that they may happen. I don't know, Sam. We have
all I know is that if I meet someone, I pretty much been on this line. I don't take people that draw this abortion line very fucking lightly. We are done having this conversation. We've been done having this conversation. I think we've done a good job of trying to stop having the conversation on their terms. Stop trying to have when is it a baby? When is it this? All that was distraction. It was never about that to begin with. And once we start realizing that it was never about them actually believing that it's life, it's never been about that. Not for one fucking minute. Maybe some of the fucking brainless peons that they control, like the church people, maybe some of them actually believe that they're fighting for life and they're fighting for a fucking baby. But it's never been fucking about that, and we need to make sure we never have that conversation again with these people. It is about the control of women, the control of poverty.
Yeah, poverty.
The control of poverty, the control of people's lives. It is part of the class war. It is part of the class war that we have and are losing and continue to lose.
I saw a meme or I saw a tweet that I fully support because there's this new hashtag trending that shouldn't be, and it's called Texas Taliban. And
I'll disagree with that, but
in so much because it's not. It's because they're trying to push, it's Sharia law, but it's not. It's white evangelical fucking law.
I think it's trying to point out to them that they hate Muslims for the same reasons that they are. They are that version. They are those people. That's what it's trying to point out.
Because it's not their God.
Yeah.
That's the only reason that they hate the fucking Taliban, because it's not their fucking God. They want the same damn things.
It's like in a video game where you play on the different team, but you're a red character now instead of a blue character. That's the version of the Taliban and the Christian version of them. They're exactly the fucking same. I've seen people talking shit about what you just mentioned, saying that, it's anti-Muslim, whatever. And I'm
no, it's not that. It's distraction. It's distracting
from how bad Christians are.
How bad Christians are.
I think it's trying to point out to them that they are no different than what they hate. I mean, this is right over their head because these are not real people anymore. They are fucking tools.
These people are fucking evil, man.
They're evil. They're evil, and they're past evil because evil says that they have some autonomy, but they don't have any autonomy. They are empty vessels filled with propaganda that do the work of people higher up than them.
At the school board meeting, I can't tell you how many times I heard pre-existing conditions.
They parrot. They don't have opinions.
Here's the thing. This is saying that people with pre-existing conditions are expendable. They don't fucking matter. To dismiss all of this stuff. This is how fucking evil they are.
Let me tell you.
That's people that, aren't as whole as they think they are. We could, who cares if they die? They're not needed in society.
And this is why I celebrate every single one of their fucking deaths. I know they're my fucking enemy at this point.
Before we move on to what Sam just said, because I want to laugh at that for a little bit, because we found a new subreddit.
It's been glorious. It's made my whole week.
Before we do that, I want to talk about how fucking evil this bill is, because as awful as it already is, banning that, there's no fucking exceptions for rape or incest.
Okay, so Texas has
incest?
No, there's no fucking exceptions
Texas
in this
has
bill.
Women of Texas, they have really loose gun laws there. You are in a better position if you get pregnant shoot your baby daddy, shoot the police that try to come for you. You will have a better chance of getting off for the murders you commit with a fucking gun than you do having an abortion.
Yeah.
And then shoot your fucking kid when it comes out, and you have a better chance of getting off for the murder of your fucking child than you do having an abortion. And that is not hyperbole.
That is the
fucking truth.
That
is the fucking truth.
That's staying.
Or you could just send them to fucking school without a mask. You could do that too.
What else can happen is that a rapist could theoretically sue their victim if they were, or their clinic, or whoever I did bets, assuming they weren't convicted. But that's how fucked this system is, and how fucking evil that is. They've completely dismantled years of law in the United States that protect women and their right to bodily autonomy, their right to their own physical health, and make their own medical decisions. And fucking Texas just...
Do these people understand what happens when people are left in desperate situations?
They don't remember. They don't
care. Like I said, this is part of the class war. They know that their class is protected. The people, like I said, the people on the bottom are the peons, empty shells. They're evil. They don't have.
Except
they're not fucking people. The people at the top,
backing people in the corner. They're making people like I had the conversation with my kid today of thank you for keeping me sane and rational. I was like, if it weren't for you, I don't know what I would do. I was like, but at the same time, I wouldn't be passionate about the things that I am. I was like, but now that I am passionate about these things, if the things I'm passionate about, like, cost your life, there's going to be hell to pay for somebody. Don't know how yet, and I'm not making any threats on it. But, like, that's likely what would cause me to come unhinged and
it's part of the class war.
Here's what I think this will lead to.
I understand when people do certain things when they've like, and that's what these laws are going to create. It's going to create people backed in a corner where they're desperate and like it's an all or nothing situation. Bad things are going to come from this all around.
I'm betting that the abortion drugs will become like a black market item. Because they'll be shipped via mail.
Because it's safer than a fucking coat hanger.
Yeah. And
the women should stand up and do something about this. That's what's going to have to happen. And if they are just going to put their heads down and not fight every fucking day, there should not be one fucking job going on right now. There should not be peace in the street for one fucking day. There should not be one fucking day that people can act like they have a normal life in fucking Texas.
It should be on the lawns of the people who support this law.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't just be in Texas because the Supreme Court just showed its fucking hand. And they just showed what they're going to be doing going forward. They just showed us what's going to happen with Mississippi. That's about to be decided this fall. They just showed their fucking hand.
We knew they would. Roberts lost. We've been saying this the whole time.
I was hopeful. I was.
How dare you have
naive, because I thought John Roberts had control, and I thought that, his legacy, he would want to, maintain, the stare decisis of, the case law that this country has held for decades. But the Supreme Court just showed their fucking hand, and he lost control of the case.
The Supreme Court cannot be trusted anymore.
It needs to be fucking expanded right goddamn now.
It either needs to be expanded or ended.
Well, they're not going to end it, but they need to expand it.
It needs to be ended in any way possible. Satirically.
Allegedly. But because they just showed their hand, if the rest of the United States doesn't start getting up and protesting, doing something... This is not going to be just Texas. This is going to be Mississippi. This is going to be Tennessee. This is going to be Alabama, Arkansas. Every goddamn red state that has already tried to put these kind of bills before.
This is why I treat all of these people with fucking disdain. Like I said, this is...
You know what I was doing 2 days before Trump was elected?
No.
I went and got my IUD replaced because they can last for up to 10 years. And, I didn't know what was going to happen if, he got, say, 8 years. But, I think women out there or anybody assigned female at birth should start looking at birth control. If you do not want to get pregnant, make sure you have birth control that will last you a long amount of time.
Because these people, especially in Texas, like I said, this will, since they show their hand, this will spread to every other red state. Now that they have a fucking roadmap on how to do it, they can easily just copy the law that Texas put out there and they laid out a roadmap.
And I'm done having the conversation about this with people. Like, it's not going to be nice anymore, and you should not be nice about it.
These people can't afford to travel the hundreds of miles to go to Colorado. That's a round trip. That's days, or it could be.
Well, now they can have people turn them in for it now too. So that they can't even do that.
That's right. If they travel to another state, I think that's part of it.
This is literal fascism.
Yeah.
Like, the people that would do that literally deserve to be fucking murdered. Like, I'm not even satirically.
So,
if you turn someone in for having an abortion in Texas, I hope you fucking die.
Well, I mean, like these are the same people that would have turned in Jews.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, they're the nice little neighbor lady that's like, oh, hey, how you doing? Oh, like the glory of the South.
But so they relaunched that website, by the way, and people started just sending in the entire script for B-movie, Shrek 2 porn, or Shrek porn. I'm still the furry porn still existed, but that's what they're doing. They're just flooding this with that.
They took off the option to send video or picture files.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
So I guess B-movie script it is.
Yeah, it's. Yeah,
it's such a fuck situation because you can just imagine
take a lot more than that.
Because
the streets are going to have to be red. That's all it's going to take.
Well, I mean, the thing is they get too many reports. They can't have the website up. You know, like it's just going to be too much on their staff. As long as people keep on that, how the fuck are they going to continue to get reports?
There will be ways, but my question is, does Texas really want this to happen? I mean, when their people can't get the abortions, they're going to have those children that were going to require the aid that they're not going to give them. Like,
it's part of the class. I already explained that. It's part of the class wars.
But they
want to keep them in poverty.
But then the state has to support them.
They won't, as they already don't. It's part of the class wars. The abortion young birth cycle is part of the class war. It's why, like I said, people, it's one of the things I try to bring up on this show all the time that I don't think a lot of people understand. I always hear a lot of, especially liberals, be like, I think a liberal thing is the system's broken, and a leftist thing is like, no, the system's working how it should. How it's meant to be. If the system's working how it was designed to work, and the education system doesn't work, oh, no. The education system is making people that it wants to make. Like, the poverty system is making people that it wants to make because it makes Republicans. Like, everything is working as it should. This is part of that class warfare. This, make no fucking mistake. The ban on abortion is a part of class warfare.
And unfortunately, like I said before, get ready to see it across the other red states now that they have a fucking roadmap.
So, what about, these, the people who have the power to enact this and voted for this bill to become a law and everything? What, do they have kids? Start reporting their kids as violating this law.
Well, they already get out of every other thing that happens.
Yeah, I know, but just every report, make it about one of their kids or their grandkids, and make their family harassed over their own law.
They should be scared every day of their fucking lives, the people that pass this bill.
What a fuck situation, just in general. I mean,
imagine what this would look like if Trump was still president, though.
Yeah.
I don't think it would be. I don't think it'd be any different.
I really don't, actually.
I think it would be worse.
I don't think so, because
I think the damage is already done.
Yeah.
And
there's not enough.
Biden at least has been putting shit out saying he opposes it. There's not much he can do
about
it right now.
But that's the thing. The damage is done.
Unfortunately, that's words, because it actually takes an literal act of Congress to actually codify Roe versus Wade. And I know Nancy Pelosi has introduced that.
That's why it's up to the people to end all the people that pass this bill.
But we know that because they're not going to end the filibuster, because we have fucking Joe Manchin and Sinema who oppose ending the filibuster, it's going to die in the Senate because there's only 2 pro-choice GOP members in the Senate. So it's only 52. They need 60. It's going to die in the Senate. And this is why I cheer the deaths of every single Republican that dies of COVID. Speaking of cheering of deaths, let's circle back.
This.
Let's circle back, because we have found soup for our soul through a new subreddit called HermanCainAward. And while I mentioned before, over the last few weeks, I've slowly started to lose my sympathy for these people.
I lost that over the last 4 years with Trump. I realized these people were, like Alistair was saying, I realized these people are not misguided. They're literal fucking evil.
And so this is a treasure trove of typically, and they're all hard right-wing GOP, some QAnon, and what they do is they go through the history of them posting like anti-vax, anti-mask, and there's like 8 or 9 of those. And then, whoops, I got COVID. Whoops, send out your prayer warriors, always prayer warriors. I know you sent that bingo thing.
Yeah.
That was really good. And then ultimately, the last one is this person has died from COVID. And it's like the schadenfreude of that. It's so delicious.
I part of me hates getting so much joy out of reading these, but at the same time, I'm fucking sick of these people. Like, you deserve it. You did this to yourself. This is you choosing to die from something that you could have completely taking the actions to. It's your own ignorance that fucking killed you.
Not only is it your own ignorance, but you're also advocately pressing people with your viewpoint to saying these things are bad. Don't do this.
Every one of these people are contributing to somebody who, like, may not deserve to die or even get seriously ill. They're contributing to the spread of this. So when I see them be like have the results that they're pushing on other people, it's karma. It's fucking karma.
And how quickly do they fucking turn around once they're hospitalized?
So
I don't know. I've seen some that like are still like.
There was
one lady who blamed it on the she lost her brother and sister both, and she swore up and down it was the medicine that the hospital gave them, and refused to admit that COVID killed her siblings. It was all the hospital's fault.
I mean, our past sound guy, he's had like 4 family members over the last 2 years die of COVID. They basically said the same thing. Like, dude's had his like mom and dad literally die, and he was like, well, it was something else.
Are you fucking kidding?
Yeah, and then his aunt died like recently, like a year later. Like, he's had like 4 people in that same family die. Like I it's not far from home. I know people that are this stupid. Like, it's not a thing on the internet. I've met them.
Well,
they are this moronic.
I was going to go see my grandfather this weekend. And after I saw the numbers in the public school and knowing that my child goes to a public school, like my child, if they got COVID, is unlikely to spread it to me. Last time I talked to my grandpa, he was fairly rational. This man's 80 years old. I love my grandfather. But I called him up to let him know that I wouldn't be able to make it this weekend. And I explained to him why, we have a major issue with Delta. It's running rampant in our schools. The kid is going to school now. I don't want to, bring my kid to your house and give you something that could kill you. And, we're talking for a bit, and I'm like, out of curiosity, I'm like, are you vaccinated? He's like, no, I eat dirt. My immune system. I'm like, oh, my
Jesus
God.
Christ.
I can hear Fox News in the background. I'm like, this man's 80 years old. I love my grandpa. I don't like this, but am I going to argue with him over this? And he only has a few years left, It's not worth my time and effort, but, I argued with him while laughing, I didn't take it too seriously. He's talking about, well, the Muslims.
Oh, Jesus.
Doing this over in Afghanistan. And I was like, well, what the Christian history is, right? And, and he handles it really well. And he's like, well, the communists. I was like, how many people capitalism kills a year? He's like, well, nothing's safe anymore. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I was like, and me visiting you this weekend isn't safe either. So I'm gonna hold off a few weeks. And,
Strangely enough, my grandma, who posts on Facebook more than I think I take breaths in a day with the amount of things that she shares. but she is a super Christian, super conservative. I'm not sure, like, pro-Trump-ish, but just will always vote conservative. But I was like, you know what? I don't follow her on Facebook because it's fucking infuriating. But we're friends, so she can comment like when I post a cute picture of my dog. But I was like, you know what? I just gotta every once in a while I'll go and just see what is she. And oddly enough, super pro-vaccine, super pro-mask, and things like that.
See, my grandpa, like, he's not a Trumper. But he's like he's more centrist. But when it comes to the vaccines and stuff, apparently he's gone that way. Now my dad, who's been wanting me to go see my grandpa, I messaged him to let him know I wasn't going, and he told me that my stepmom canceled a trip to her family's for the same exact reason of where they're at. They have like high COVID cases. Like, well, at least somebody's like taking this seriously in the family. I'd be more concerned, and I'd find it more with my time to convince my grandfather if he didn't live in this like one stop sign town in the middle of the Georgia mountains. You know, like he's not probably really likely to. He doesn't go out much. He goes to the grocery store, but like he's isolated as fuck. So it's not worth the fight, but at the same time, I'm not going to visit him when my city's in the middle of a fucking outbreak.
So I got a call. I have a few employees that are out with COVID right now. And the one that caught me off guard the most was one that was vaccinated. But I also know that this person has underlying health issues. It's actually just recently out of the hospital. And I got a call. I text them. I was like, so how are your symptoms? I try to keep up with all my employees that have COVID, report, like, how are they doing? And she called me and sounded like it was awful. Really short breath. And she said, it's bad. It's real bad. They found blood clots. They're hospitalizing me. The doctor said that if I was not vaccinated, I would not be living today. And the most heart-wrenching plea that she said to me was like, you've got to tell these people to get fucking vaccinated. You've got to tell them. Because she knew that she would have been dead without that. Without those antibodies present in her system, with her underlying conditions, she would not have lived that day.
Damn.
I just wish I could have had that recording to play to every one of my fucking employees who are refusing to get this shit. Because we could have lost a person that's been with us since the beginning. And I try to tell these people, like, just I wish they could have heard her voice, her plea for this to happen, and they couldn't do it. They're not doing it. So it's a depressing situation, and it's just, I think it's just gonna just have to run its course, and Herman Cain's gonna be the HermanCainAward is gonna be keep filling up with new winners posthumously awarded.
When we get done recording tonight, we'll probably have a beer, but then I'm gonna go home and have a beer with my Trump-supporting neighbor.
I'll have a water.
I'm going to, try to convince her of some shit. It's not going to work, but, Jesus fuck. I can't help not trying.
Right.
Just fucking trying to rationalize with these people.
Right. I will always try. I mean, I know Sam's done.
I'm done. They can fucking die. I'll kick them in the fucking dick.
Here's the thing. I don't know what it is, but the people that fucking hate me, when they get one-on-one and talk to me, for some reason they like fucking talking to me. I don't know why. Even Patty fucking Cuntwaffle Bounds is still talking to me. She opened it up for us to sit down and talk again. It makes her
feel better about herself because she's a malignant narcissist piece of shit.
But there's all these different people that I don't agree with. They should absolutely hate me, but they actually like talking to me. Well, no, I was fucking doxing Nazis, and I let one that was in my inbox know that I knew exactly who he was. And his response was like, what, are you going to dox me now? He's like, go ahead. I don't even care. I just like talking to you. I don't know why these fuckers like talking to me. But for some reason, they'll actually listen a little bit.
But not enough, and that's the point.
I know, yeah, not
that's
enough.
That's my point. I think you're the best example I have of it doesn't matter if you fucking talk to these people. It doesn't fucking matter. Once they're gone, they're gone.
I'm gonna fucking keep trying. I don't know why.
That's because you have a little bit of faith in humanity. I don't. We're fucking trash.
I want to rip their faces off too. Like it
is frustrating as fuck.
I don't know if it's hope for humanity so
I'm
much
way past
as
I for some reason when I was a teenager I was like, George Bush is just so fucking stupid. There's no way that he'll get a second term. And I think I was that age when I lost my faith in humanity.
Yeah,
I'm like, it was George Bush his second term. That was a long time ago.
Of course he was getting a second term
that.
because he was riding a high off of fucking 9/11.
But I was like, 9/11 so fucking stupid. I even knew that. I was a fucking teenager. I was like, this is fucking stupid.
9/11 was like what made me realize none of this shit makes any fucking sense to me. I don't know. I think for me why I keep trying is because they're still willing to sit down with me. As long as they're willing to sit down and talk to me, I feel almost like I have a responsibility to try to get them. I don't know
gives me
what it is.
To like the end of the fucking Sopranos where she realizes that they're just doing it because they're fucking malignant narcissists and they're doing it for themselves. They're not doing it for you. They're not doing it to learn anything. They're doing it for themselves.
It'd be one thing if like they were changing me in some way, but they're not. You know, they're not changing my view in any way.
On the fucking back to be like, I tried. Look, I'm trying. Look, I'm talking to someone. So they even do it to rub it in their face. So what you're saying
is we have the same illness. Is like we at least will try.
I think they do it to even rub in their face that they can talk to you and nothing comes of it. I think that's even what Patty's doing.
They get satisfaction over not being able to do something where I get disappointed when I see that they won't.
Yeah, but I'm in the same camp where it's like I know they're probably too far gone, but Jesus fuck. I mean, I get so outraged by what they're saying or what they're doing or what they're not doing that I feel like I gotta at least plant some fucking seed.
I feel like if I don't, I don't know. I kind of feel guilty if I don't take those opportunities.
I mean, like I've been saying for the past year and a half, that's not where your energy's best. Your energy's best is focusing on those fucking liberals that are not over the fence yet. These people will never be on your side.
I do that too.
But there's probably some liberals out there, some like quote quote Democrats, actual Democrats. Not people that I vote Democrat, but I'm not a Democrat.
So during the school board stuff, especially with me going up there with the Stinky Cooch shirt,
everyone's talking about that.
Yeah, so I'm getting these friend requests, and a lot of them are the three named bleach blonde yoga pants moms.
Yoga moms.
And I'm looking at their profile. I'm like, this is gonna be fun, and I'm like giggling to myself as I hit accept.
But those are the people worth spending your time on.
It is, and that's what I was telling a friend about it today. I was like, I've slowly been able to move people further left. I'm like, it just depends on how long they're willing.
From the center to the left, but not from the right to the left.
Yeah.
You can move someone to the right to kind of center right, but they can't go past there. Sure.
You know what? If I get some of these people center, though.
You can't. No, I don't think you can get someone that's far right to the center. I think you can get them to center right.
The thing is I've sat down with these people, and there's times like Patty Bounds, I can tell when she messages me, she's fucking with me. She's trying to fuck with me, and that's why I'm going to continue to try to fuck with her. I'm not going to let her win. But there's other people that I talk to that I can tell, like, they're actually thinking about it. But the issue always is they go back to their crowd of people, and then they get enmeshed in that, and they're like, everything I worked for gets undone.
Yeah.
If you can isolate these people...
Which you can't do.
The reason is because... politics and religion go hand in hand. We know this because we're all met each other through religious shit. They're all Christian, and that leads into their political beliefs. And what Christianity does is the same thing that the far right does. It gives you a source to get brainwashed every week until it becomes a part of your personality. Until being a right-wing fundamental Christian is a part of that is more who you are than who you are. They are, like I said, I can't see these people as people anymore. I see them as like pawns to someone with a greater purpose. And that is what they are. They have lost their free will. They've lost their ability to critically think. They've lost their ability to form their own opinions. I always wonder what these people, like when the new thing happens, like they can't even form their own opinion. They have to go to their news source to tell them what they think about an issue.
And that's ironic because these are the people that call themselves patriots that are fighting for freedom.
Oh, well, they do their research, and they aren't the sheep. And and like when we think of that, where they all follow the same thing. Recently, an article was shared about a doctor or a judge who ordered the hospital to do the prescription of ivermectin.
Yes.
And so this article got spread to me. There's outrage all over online, and I'm looking at this like, I agree with this judge's decision. And like, that's not what that's free thinking. That's looking at something, looking at all the facts, and understanding, like, okay, this is a situation where, this is different. If I listened to everybody else around me, I'd be outraged over it.
So I shared the article with you, but that's not the article I read, because I first came across it on WVLT, and it was a very fucking short article. I was like, well, that's fucking stupid. So a judge just, like, is a doctor now? And then I read the article that I sent you after you're like, well, I kind of disagree. So I was like, well, what the fuck did you read? And then I read it, and then the details of that particular instance is where this person was already under a 30% chance of survival, had already been prescribed at least this. This is a last-ditch effort. Like, what's to stop this hospital from doing that? I mean, nothing else is going to save this person. So I kind of, changed my stance on that point. But that's why I initially took that stance, because the first article I read dismissed the majority of the facts of that case.
So it was shared on a friend's page, and everybody's talking about, like, this judge-approved horse medication for this person. I'm like, that's not what it is. Ivermectin is like, and that's the thing with ivermectin is it's actually approved for use in a clinical trial for COVID. Some doctor, and I do not agree with the excessiveness, like Nurse Debbie prescribing it to anybody who just calls her office and says, I want this. That is not okay. This man was on the fucking deathbed. We approve medications for patients, like experimental medications, all the fucking time in this country. We try medications that are like outside of their intended use for certain conditions when somebody is at the last resort. And that's where this man is. He's probably going to fucking die.
Right.
If his family has a prescription for the human version of ivermectin, who the fuck cares? Let the man try it. He has nothing else going for him right now. It's not going to hurt the situation. Give it to him.
Right. I'm glad you made that distinction, because I know we were shitting on the people rushing to get ivermectin, but they're buying like literal horse paste.
They are.
And they're taking that. I saw actually injected. What was it? Milo Yiannopoulos?
Yeah, he injected it.
that was actually from the fucking store, wasn't it? Like a co-op or some shit. Yep. What a fucking idiot. So, but we weren't talking. In this case, we aren't talking about that. We're actually talking about literally prescribed and administered by a hospital in a correct dosage. Probably won't do anything.
It probably won't, but nothing else is doing anything either, and it's not going to hurt anything.
Right.
Let those families try it.
Let them have the hope. Let them have the last bit of hope.
Yeah, I see no issue with this. I think the judge was right. People may disagree with me, but those are my reasons why I think the judge is right.
Sure.
We try experimental shit on people who are dying all the fucking time. Let the man have it.
Right.
A lot of people are taking this as a preventative, though. They're just taking
That's my issue with Nurse Debbie, is she's like giving it to people as a preventative.
They're like, I don't need to wear a mask because I injected horse drugs.
It's just it's the people who are doing that. It's the new hydroxychloroquine. People who are taking that as a preventative measure.
Yeah, and where's that drug? What happened to that? Why are they not doing that anymore? Exactly.
Oh, Nurse Debbie, one of her recent posts is like, why isn't anybody talking about hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin?
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, I got screenshots of that. You'll find them, like, not on our Twitter. I don't know if we want to share my campaign against Nurse Debbie later.
Well, Twitter's very much, they won't, Twitter won't block you for correcting an anti-vaxxer on their platform, unlike fucking Facebook.
Oh yeah, that happened to you, didn't it?
Yes, it did.
Facebook's a fascist mess.
It's unfortunate that we have to have that to promote our page and our group and things like that, because it's fucking. I had no idea. Like, I hadn't been blocked. I don't get these kind of things, but
You're not like me.
I literally just someone's like, they posted something about how even Pfizer's own website says this isn't fully FDA approved. They just got extended emergency use, and I was like, it took me 20 seconds to go to Pfizer's website, click on the coronavirus link, and it says coronavirus. The Pfizer's, and I forgot the Comirnaty, I think is the name of it, Comirnaty vaccine has full FDA approval for ages 16 or over. I screen capped that, I licked it, put the link, and I got fucking flagged for spamming.
Yeah, I've gotten that for posting news articles too. It's ridiculous. Like, in fact, one of my 30-day bans was doing that about National Socialism.
Yeah, so I don't think if you want to have post some shit on Twitter, I don't think Twitter's going to say shit.
No, you got to be pretty out there on Twitter to get banned.
I will not release her personal information.
It's going to be in the show notes. I'm just kidding. It's not.
Yep. But yeah, I'm going to post this on a separate Twitter account, and we may share it. I have the ability to do that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, this is ACAB of the week.
So I was just pointing out that we had to discuss whether we should even talk about this ACAB because it's good news. And we're just so used to having ACAB be all bad news, but this is something good that actually happened, which should be normal. Like, justice being served should just be like a normal thing in your country.
I kind of want to sandwich that because this is a case from 2019, Sam.
Well, that's how slow the justice system is.
Except when cities burn. Because George Floyd took longer, but not this long.
I guess that shows you should burn more cities.
So
this is Texas.
So what we're talking about is this is three Colorado police officers and 2 paramedics have been criminally charged in the death of Elijah McCain. He's a black man who died in 2019. So basically, they had him in a carotid neck hold and was later injected by paramedics with ketamine.
Man, I wish. What do I got to do?
So he went to cardiac arrest and dies. The case drew national attention during the George Floyd thing in 2020, but it was just recently this week where they were charged. They haven't been convicted yet, and that's the problem. So we're only halfway there, being charged.
But that's how fucked up is. We have to celebrate that. That's how fucked up a dystopia we live in.
And this is Colorado, too, where Colorado has made progressive
steps.
That's
the only reason this is happening, is because it's Colorado. It would not happen anywhere else.
Yeah. I mean, that's absolutely correct.
I don't know when the trial date will be set for this. I'll probably keep an eye on this because, I mean, this is obviously from years ago. Him dying days later may weigh against the jury. Because of how long he was in the hospital? I'm not sure.
It could, except, like, he's only in the hospital because of this. So, like, I don't know if that fully would work.
I don't know how it would go either way. I imagine it being Colorado, I'm hopeful that those charged will be convicted. So this is from Reuters. The initial internal investigation regarding this determined that the officers and paramedics had not violated policy and that the local district attorney declined to file criminal charges, citing an autopsy that listed the cause of death as undetermined. Weiser took over the case after Governor Jared Polis appointed him as a special prosecutor this year, and in January announced that a state grand jury was convened to review the case. They handed down a 32-count indictment in which all 5 defendants, the 3 police officers and 2 paramedics, were charged with manslaughter and criminally negligent homicide. I don't know what kind of sentences those weigh on, but we'll see what Colorado does with that. I'll be kind of keep an eye on that. Once they've been charged, I imagine the case will be held in a few months, and we'll see. Hopefully, we have another good ACAB follow up in a few months.
Hopefully. Okay, so for a local news story that is kind of entertaining at first glance, I just found a second article about it that makes me feel really bad for this guy because he clearly has some mental health issues. At first, I thought it may have been racially motivated when I first saw it, I'm like, haha, this is funny. A guy got arrested for burning a flag in a church. Then I opened the article and it's like his pants were down at his ankles.
What?
Yeah. Apparently, when they went in there, his pants were down at his ankles. And
is there any other way to burn a flag?
Well, I mean, I've burnt a few, and my pants are always up at my waist. Maybe I'm doing it wrong.
I think you're doing it wrong.
Yeah. But anyway, so. The second thing I noticed is it's at Mount Olive Baptist Church here in Knoxville, which I know is a majority black church. So I'm like, oh, fuck, is this racially motivated? This article I came to starts with, a man who previously identified himself to police officers as God is accused of breaking into a Knoxville church and setting a flag on fire.
Smite.
This kid has mental illness. He's only 21 years old. He's clearly has something not working normally there, So I feel really bad for him. But yeah, he went into this church and he burned a flag. And when they asked him why he burnt the flag, he's like, "'Cause I'm not a Christian."
But he identified himself as God?
Yeah. Well, he has mental health issues. I mean, Do you really think God would like the Christians of today or Jesus?
Oh, no.
I mean, he actually kind of has a point there.
What kind of flag was he burning? Because there's Christian flags. Did it mention?
Well, so his charges are not so much with the flag itself. It's arson. Part of the church caught on fire. The incident caused about $2,000 in damages, it says. But, part of the church was... he was trying to fucking burn the thing because it burned the wall and carpet too.
I'm surprised that being a mental health crisis that the police didn't escalate the situation as they normally do.
Well, he's white.
Oh, hey.
He's white. Fortunately, he got to live. Hopefully, I really hope this kid gets the mental health care he needs. But,
because we've seen time that we just did our ACAB, but that's a lot of situations where there's mental health crises. They do not de-escalate. And so at least in this situation, they were able to apprehend him safely. Really
fucking impressive, KPD. Good job there. We're proud of you for this one time.
For the bare minimum.
We'll hate you tomorrow.
So proud of the bare minimum that you can possibly
do. It really
do.
is kind of the bare minimum that we've been talking about. Just charging, people that murdered someone in 2019, we're applauding that. That's kind of the bare minimum that we expect of our local officials when there's wrongdoing.
Right.
And we're applauding their bare minimum of not killing. And that's where we're at right now. That's where we're fucking at right now. Just applauding the bare minimum. You're fucking right, Sam.
He had previous interactions with KPD where he referred to himself as God. Imagine if this kid
had
access...
Wait a second. Who's his dad? Is he a rich guy? How rich is his dad?
I don't know any of that information.
That would reveal a whole lot more of why they didn't throw the fucking book at him.
Well, it may have been minor stuff in the past. He may have, but they said they had other interactions with him. They never cited any previous charges for him. They just said they've interacted with him before, and he's previously referred to himself as God. If this kid would have gotten the help that he needed any of these times, maybe it wouldn't have gotten to the point of him.
He'd probably still want to burn down a church, but, can't blame him for that
part.
The
burning of the flag, at first I was fucking hell yeah, man.
So he wanted to burn down a church and a flag, and, I'm sure he has mental illness, but, I don't know. What was his motives?
I don't agree with the black church, because this is a majority black church, I'm pretty sure.
Black church, they're not all good.
They're not. Some of them promote the same thing that white Christian churches do, but it's all oppressive in my opinion.
Yeah,
but At the same time, targeting a black church is kind of different than...
Maybe it was happenstance. I don't know. I want to hear his motives.
Mental illness is mostly his motives, really.
Well, if he thinks he's God, but,
All right, guys. Well, that's going to wrap us up for episode 30 of Apostates on the Fringe. 30. Thank you guys again for joining us this week. As always, you can find us on social media. If you'd like to contact the show or visit the links to the articles, you can visit apostatepod.com. Please continue to share out the show everywhere you can and leave us a 5-star review, and we'll see you all next week.
It is my mission to take down Nurse Debbie.
Burn fucking Texas
Burn, baby,
down.
burn.
Thank you all very much.
Apostates on the Fringe. Apostates on the Fringe.
The views and opinions of the hosts of Apostates on the Fringe do not represent the views and opinions of the Atheist Society of Knoxville. For links to all our musical contributors, go to apostatepod.com and check the About Us page. A big thank you to Michael Scott Arden, who allows the show to use his full catalog.